One summer moment can change a child's life. Through Toys for Tots Give and Go initiative, your support provides books, games, toys, and outdoor adventures that spark curiosity, creativity, and a love of nature. Whether it's fishing, learning a new sport, reading under a tree, or playing with friends, these moments build confidence and lifelong memories. For too many children, those moments never come. You can help change that this summer. Visit toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots, delivering hope beyond the holidays.
I'm Lee Harris, Senior Vice President of News and Programming for WABC, welcoming you to the special encore presentation of Cats and Company, featuring an interview with Michael Cohen. You'll remember him as Donald Trump's personal lawyer. You'll likely recall that he wound up going to prison after pleading guilty to various charges. He's out, and starting a week from Sunday, he'll be hosting his own weekly show on WABC. He'll give us a preview of what that show will be like. Also on today's program, Mike Huckabee, Ambassador to Israel. Cats and Cosby, they get all the good guests. So without further ado, here are Cats and Cosby.
Welcome to the 5 o'clock show. It's time for Common Sense. Now, it's Cats and Cosby with John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby, standing for truth, justice, and the American way, bringing common sense to the world. Now, here's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Breaking news, WABC.
Well, we have some breaking news, and he'll be on in a few minutes, and the former attorney for President Trump is starting at WABC as a new host.
This is an amazing moment. Michael Cohen is starting out with us at WABC, and it's an interesting story. Everyone's going to wonder. First of all, he was a long-time, not just attorney, John, but
he's a long-time friend
right.
of President Trump's, and I spoke to President Trump, and he is very happy that Michael Cohen is starting on WABC because, hey, last week President Trump put out a truth. What do you call it? Truth Social?
Yeah, Truth Social post.
That WABC is one of the greatest stations in the nation.
And I agree with him on that. And obviously, he listens to the show. He certainly listens to you.
I think he listens to us once in a while.
I think he definitely does. And also, it's going to be interesting. I think so many people, and I can't wait to hear when Michael calls into us in a minute.
Michael is going to start next Sunday officially.
A week from Sunday.
But tomorrow morning, he is working tomorrow morning. I'm working the morning shift, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., He'll be here for 4 hours tomorrow morning with me.
Oh, my God. I can't wait.
Along with Fernando Mateo. And along with Jake Novak.
So is it called when Sid's away, Cats and Team Play?
Cats and Team Play.
I can't wait to tune in. Yeah. I cannot. And also, I think people are going to be so intrigued, John.
He's going to call in.
Yeah, to hear
Michael
the
Cohen is going to call in for a few minutes.
And the relationship, John, is interesting. To hear with him and President Trump, people will be curious.
President Trump is very, very happy that Michael is going to be here.
That's great news. That is really great news. That alone is big news.
Michael is going to be working a lot more hours, but he's starting off with next Sunday at 1 hour a day, but he's going to be a regular host Monday through Friday.
That's going to be an interesting moment,
we'll
John.
figure out where we're going to put him.
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear. And by the way, I believe he's calling in, John. Why don't we take his call?
We have a special guest tonight, Michael D. Cohen. Well, he was the former personal attorney for President Donald J. Trump, and he's joining WABC. So welcome, Michael Cohen. Welcome to WABC.
John, I couldn't be happier to be here. As you know, I have been attacked by the left. I've been criticized by the right. In fact, I'm very tired. Like so many Americans out there, we call ourselves the tired majority. There is no better place for me to be able to express myself, to use your incredible platform to express myself and to provide really relevant and topical information on everything that's happening right now in America.
Well, there's so many things. I tell people about President Trump, we both know him a long time, that he is working very hard to keep the free world free, and he's working very hard to make America better and bringing back industry to America. I mean, I can't believe how much industry left America during critical years.
Yeah, a lot has left America. The problem, though, is everybody wants to be 100%. You know, the famous Ed Koch, our great mayor here in New York, used to turn around and say, if you agree with me on 6 out of 12 topics, you should support me. If you agree with me 12 out of 12 topics, you should seek a psychiatrist. I say it all the time because it's very true. You don't have to agree 100% with every single thing that Donald Trump is saying or doing in order to support him. You should actually want to support the United States of America to be the best that we could continue to be and to be the beacon for the rest of the world to try to emulate.
Well, business-wise, President Trump is trying to bring back business to America. He's a great businessman, the art of the deal. And he's working very, very hard to, making sure our deals with other countries are correct. And he gets criticized for that, and I don't understand that.
Well, he gets criticized for everything, and I try to tell that to people. Where criticism is correct, well, everybody should be criticized for where there are mistakes. But he also, from, as an example, the left, does not get any credit for any of the things that he's doing that's positive for America. So it becomes 24/7 dopamine hit of hate and rage and outrage and, just complete disdain for our president. That's no way for a democracy to exist and to continue.
And I understand you're going to be with us tomorrow morning on the 6 a.m. show to 10 a.m. And I look forward to spending time with you, and people get to know you and know what things are all about.
Yeah, a lot of people criticize me. They're like, oh, well, you did this, you did that, you did. Most people do not know my story. What you know are the headlines, and let me be very clear, and you're going to learn a lot about it. Those headlines are false. They're false going back to the Russia hoax, and there's so much to talk about each and every day, and I plan on doing that.
Well, I'll see you tomorrow morning, and also I think you're going to come on our Sunday show to talk more about joining WABC.
Yes, and that would be something special and something that I would very much enjoy. So thank you, John.
Well, thank you, and I'll see you in the morning.
You got it, my friend.
Wow, I can't wait. First of all, he's going to be joining you, as he just told us here, John, tomorrow morning. And I think people will be intrigued. What has he been doing? What is his mission? And he certainly seems like a man who, he said he's not going to hold anything back. And that makes the best kind of, I think, radio host and radio guest. So I absolutely can't wait. And look, I know Michael Cohen. You've known Michael Cohen. It's going to be fascinating. And everybody, make sure to tune in tomorrow. He's going to be with you for 4 hours, along with Jake and also Fernando and, of course, John there at the helm.
It's going to be an interesting morning.
I can't wait. John, that's a good way to phrase it.
Yes,
it's going to be awesome.
Morning.
It is going to be awesome. And you guys, I understand we have calling in right now, John. We've got Norm Coleman, the former senator of Minnesota. And Norm, first, let's talk about this big case that's making tons of headlines. You probably saw this. Of course, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has now, he paroled a pedophile. This guy, a horrible, horrible pedophile, a guy who was accused of raping a 10 to 12-year-old repeatedly. And the guy was up for final deportation. And Tim Walz, who sits on the parole board, decided, along with others, to give this guy clemency. I mean, you can't, this is crazy, Norm.
Clemency?
Yeah, this is crazy. Crazy. Norm?
Rita, we haven't said is that the other person, they were actually, but the other person on the parole, but is Keith Ellison, the Attorney General. Okay, so we got Walz and Ellison, who have let Minnesota be kind of rampant in fraud and turned a blind eye on that, if not may have been involved in it. But then so it's Walz, yes, Ellison, and then the Chief Justice, Supreme Court, a former St. Paul City Attorney, another liberal Democrat. But I listen, and just listening to your last segment there, a little bit of that. In part, it's because this person would have been deported back to Laos. Okay, they decided to turn the blind eye on a pedophile rapist in order to ensure that or to perhaps make it less possible for immigration, cuss immigration, ICE to deport this guy. That's what this is about. It all comes down to kind of Trump derangement syndrome, and we don't want to do anything to be cooperating with folks who are trying to get murderers, rapists, criminals out of our country. This one is hard to even comprehend. It's almost it's just incredible. But by the way, while I have you on, are your thermostats turned up to 78 today?
Yeah, the old Mayor Mondani rule.
Yes. I mean, the lunatics are running the asylum. They're running it in New York. You get
the lunatics are running the asylum, and I hope the common sense Democrats around the whole country, the common sense independents around the whole country, all realize you can't have the lunatics running our country.
Well, the common sense Democrats are a very shrinking minority. They're
not shrinking. You know what they are? They're scared to speak out because the socialists go after them with both hands. And I see that the Department of Justice is finally going after who is that Chinese American?
Neville Roy Singham.
Roy Singham is going after him with both fists
because he's financing these lunatics.
He's financing them, and it's not his own money. I think the Chinese government is probably funneling it money through him.
Well, the sad news is you get back to the common sense Democrats. They're gone. I'm sorry. I don't know whether it's fear, whether they're hiding in a hole. Okay, this isn't New York City anymore. Colorado is not New York City. 29-year-old progressive.
Well, over there, they're so high. Is that the pot state, the marijuana state? They're all so high, they don't know if they're coming or going.
Yeah, but the bottom line is that this fungus, this gangrene is spreading. And I think in the end the consequences there'll be stern consequences for the Democrat Party because even though they're winning in these primaries, that's where the energy is today. That's where the excitement is. That's where the insanity is. Okay? We saw. I mean, the ones that won in New York. Are they talking about comrades now? They're calling.
Yeah, they're calling each other comrades. You know what's shocking, Norm?
They're not even hiding it anymore.
Yeah, they're not even hiding it. You know what's shocking? Yeah. And there's what troubles me, and here we are. We're heading into our America's 250. And we love this country. It's the greatest country in the world. And yet now we have this sort of strain of them, including the one in Colorado and the one in New York, Norm, and elsewhere, that have said that essentially America deserved 9/11, that Israel deserved 10/7. I mean, to me, it's anti-American.
It is. And perhaps, John, perhaps you're right. Perhaps right now you have, folks who are in the Democrat Party who are cowering in fear. And as a result, the lunatics have taken over the party. And they really have. That is the loud voice, the dominant voice. Listen, Chuck Schumer is, as I've said this before, he's a dead man walking. I mean, he's gone. He's had his time, and his time is past. And we'll see whether it's AOC or whoever. But perhaps at a certain point in time, this is not America. This is not who America is. This is not who Americans are. This does not represent what this country is all about. And perhaps the interesting moment in time, we celebrate this incredible 250th anniversary of the greatest nation on earth, the shining city on a hill, as Reagan described it. And maybe that's an awakening. Maybe there will be an awakening. I hope so. For the sake of my kids and my grandkids, I hope that there's an awakening because the consequences of anywhere with the Democrat socialists, the communists that have been in charge, it doesn't work. It doesn't work in Cuba. It doesn't work in North Korea. It didn't work in the Soviet Union. Okay, it didn't work in Venezuela. It doesn't work, and maybe it takes. I don't know, for the far left to become the dominant voice of the Democrat Party, for there to be a broader awakening amongst the American public. I hope so.
I hope so. And I hope, there's a secret ballot out there. If we could straighten out and make sure it's one American, one vote, and we have legitimate voting, and all the Democrats, all the common sense Democrats, make sure the lunatic Democrats lose by 99% or something, you know?
But John, unfortunately, at this point, they're winning. Okay, at this point, they're winning, and it's not just, it was Mondami, okay, but now it's Mondami, and now it's New York's congressional representation, and now it's Colorado, now it's New Hampshire, okay, and now it's Maine.
By the way, there's one in Wisconsin. Did you see this? There's one in, I think it's Wisconsin, Norm, who turned her back when it was time to do the Pledge of Allegiance. She turned her back.
Listen, we're going to celebrate an incredible 250th anniversary coming up. I'm thrilled. I'm proud to be an American. Most Americans are proud to be an American. Again, perhaps this is an opportunity for a reawakening. It's sorely needed, and unfortunately, it's not going to come soon enough to New York. So enjoy the heat. Okay, enjoy your thermostat says 78 because that's who you voted for, and unfortunately, they're not going to lead you down a better path. You only have free for so long. At a certain point in time, John, you'd run out of other people's money.
Norm Coleman, is that like the 1980s? Make sure you don't flush your toilet very often.
Where did that get you? We're back,
and we're running out of gasoline and.
In any case, we had a great president. We have a country is moving in the right direction. We're seeing change in Venezuela. We're seeing the president working with Israel to disable the greatest state sponsor of terrorism, the Iranians. We've got leadership that's moving this country in the right direction. Let's hope we keep moving in that direction. Unfortunately, our Democrat friends are not being they're not being very helpful right now, John.
Sadly. You know what? That's a good way to put it, Norm.
Senator Norm Coleman, we love you. Thank you for coming on, and have a happy 4th. And we hope you spend
happy 4th. Absolutely.
Spend some time with the family.
New York friends.
Yeah, visit us when you're back here, Norm. Please come visit us.
You got it, Rita. Thank you.
Thank you. Have happy a beautiful. You too. You too. And John, I understand calling in right now. We have Ambassador Mike Huckabee. Right? Why don't we take that call? Let's go.
Let's go to Israel. And what is today is Ambassador Mike Huckabee. Ambassador, we're calling you to find out what the heck is going on over there, and there's so many open items. And are you personally celebrating at the embassy?
Absolutely. I mean, this is the 250th year of our nation. We're so very excited to be able to represent America here in this land that is a terrific partner to the United States. And today, the President of Israel, President Isaac Herzog, came over to the embassy to bring a letter that we're sending to President Trump. And it's just a wonderful time for us to remember how blessed we are to serve under the red, white, and blue flag that flies proudly over Jerusalem at the U.S. Embassy.
Ambassador, lately in the last few weeks, a few months, there's been a lot of controversy going on between Lebanon, the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran, and nobody really knows who's in charge in Iran. Where do you want to start?
Let's talk about Lebanon, because I was very involved as U.S. Ambassador to Israel, along with my colleague, Ambassador Michelle Issa, who is U.S. Ambassador to Lebanon. And we joined with delegations from both Israel, Lebanon, and the State Department, and over 5 different sessions of peace talks, were able to put together a peace agreement between Lebanon and Israel that is truly historic. And it's something that every American can be proud of, because for the first time since 1955, the government of Lebanon is now recognizing Israel and its sovereignty. Israel and Lebanon declare they're not at war with each other. Israel declares it does not want to annex any of Lebanon. Lebanon declares that not only is it not at war, but its real enemy is Hezbollah. And that's a big thing, John, because it puts this in the right perspective. It really puts the focus on the bad guys. And what we're seeing is the opportunity to move toward normalization between these two countries. And recognizing the only reason that it's not peaceful already is because of the Iranian-backed terror organization Hezbollah that has killed hundreds of Americans through the years. So if Americans say, well, Hezbollah doesn't affect me, actually it does. Hezbollah is in 12 Western Hemisphere nations, but never forget it was Hezbollah that killed 240 Marines in 1982 in Beirut. They're a horrible organization of nothing but terror.
Now, this terrorist organization, are they terrorists on their own, or are they paid assassins of the Iranians? Give us the pulse of the situation.
Well, they're unquestionably an arm of the Iranian regime. They have been a proxy for Iran forever, just as is Hamas and the Houthis. It's one of the reasons that stopping Iran is more than just getting rid of that regime, but it also is standing on the oxygen hose that feeds Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. So it's why that, again, many Americans don't get it. They think that this is a Middle Eastern problem. It is a global issue because these are people who threaten and who kill people all over the world, including U.S. citizens.
Understood. Anything else you want to say to the American people that are listening today?
Well, I want to say God bless America. You know, John, I grew up a kid, dirt poor in southern Arkansas, and nobody thought I had a shot at anything. I'm the first male in my family to even graduate high school. No male, as far back as we can trace, had ever gotten out of high school. And I would say, where else but America could a kid like me end up governing a state for almost 11 years and then having the privilege of serving President Trump in the United States as ambassador to Israel? I love America. Every day when I drive up to the embassy and I see our flag, and I'm reminded what a blessing it is to be under the red, white, and blue.
Well, you know, Arkansas is almost like middle America, and all, you know, hardworking American, middle America people. And I'm glad you're there. I'm glad you give us the pulse of the situation, and thank you for everything you do. And hopefully we'll catch up again real soon.
I hope so, John. Happy 250th to you and all your listeners. Thank you.
We are celebrating. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, John. I love Ambassador Huckabee, and how great that he just called us all the way from Israel.
Well, it's 1 o'clock in the morning there or something.
I'd say, I guess we're worth staying up for. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I guess so.
He's great. He's great. And he also loves America and loves this country. And, John, we're going to take a break. And then afterwards, we have Congressman Gabe Evans. He's in Colorado. And what was the thing you just said, John? What are they smoking there? Because, boy, they just elected a wacko. We're coming up.
Welcome to a new era of baseball's great spectacle. The T-Mobile Home Run Derby, live on Netflix. The biggest sluggers in baseball put their talents to the test on All-Star Weekend. Raw power meets star power. Big swagger meets bigger slams. And you don't swing to make contact. You swing to make history. Watch the T-Mobile Home Run Derby live on Netflix, Monday, July 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific.
A common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Cats and Cosby on 77 WABC.
And, John, we are back now, and everybody talking about Colorado.
Let's go to Colorado. I mean, do they have a theme song?
You know what we should have done? Like Rocky Mountain High. Isn't it John Denver?
Well, they're always high in Colorado.
Yeah, hang on. Let's see. I think we're going to get the John Denver song. You know, Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. Everybody knows that one. That's like one of the best songs ever. I think here it is. We're building up to it, John. Here we are.
He was born in the summer of his 27th year, coming home to a place he'd never been before. He left yesterday behind him, you might say he was born.
Well, let's go to the congressman.
Yeah, you don't want to hear the whole song, right?
No, I don't
All
want to
right.
hear it.
But we know what it is. It's John Denver, Rocky Mountain High, and Congressman Gabe Evans, Republican there of Colorado. By the way, we love that song. But are they high in Colorado after what we saw?
I want to know if only the Democrats are high, or is it the Republicans too?
Oh, that's a good question. What do you think, Congressman?
Well, first of all, it is a good song. I was born and raised in Colorado, so I grew up hearing that song. But yes, Democrats in Colorado have lost their ever-loving mind. So I'm sure we'll talk about my opponent that just came out of the primary. But, you know, since we're on the topic, he has voted to legalize every drug that you can imagine for legal drug use in the state of Colorado. Meth, heroin, cocaine, fentanyl, anything you want. He voted for a bill to make legal drug injection sites in the state of Colorado.
That's incredible. And how bad is the situation there? I haven't been, Congressman, to Denver in a while, but the last time I went, it was a number of years ago, and I couldn't believe it. I walked down sort of that main street, and it seemed like everybody was high as a kite. They looked like a lot of them were homeless people. It was a very scary situation. What if your opponent's vision comes true? How dangerous is that for Colorado?
It's horrifying for Colorado. So he's a sitting state representative right now. This is not conjecture. I can tell you what he would do to the nation because they've already done it to Colorado. Denver, Colorado, has the highest vacancy rate of any major city in the nation in its downtown area, 40% commercial vacancy rate. 10 years ago, 35% of the companies in downtown Denver were energy companies. My opponent hates oil and gas. He wants to confiscate your natural gas-fired stove and furnace. He has voted to impose hundreds of millions of dollars of fees and regulatory burdens on oil and gas in the state of Colorado to the point where it's actually more expensive because of regulatory cost to make gasoline and diesel fuel in Colorado than it is in California. And the result of that is 35% of the downtown Denver companies a decade ago were energy companies. It's now 7%. And, that's part of the reason why we have this 40% vacancy rate that's crushing our economy and the cost of living.
I mean, it's horrible what the heck is going on. And, you say the energy companies left. Exxon was part of New Jersey, a New Jersey company for 140 years, and they got up and left.
Yeah, we're seeing it all over, and it's not just energy companies. So energy is important to my district. 4% of U.S. crude oil is produced in my congressional district. You got 435 congressional districts around the nation, so I'm way, way above the average. I'm the 7th highest energy-producing congressional district in the country. But the other thing we make in my district is agriculture, food. 7% of all U.S. milk that is produced comes to a company that's in my district to make. If you eat mozzarella cheese on anything, they probably made it. And my opponent, he has called farmers and ranchers horrific. He has advocated for a vice tax on meat, dairy, and eggs because they're so devastating to the environment. And when he's not busy attacking farmers and ranchers, he's finding other ways to increase costs in the food system. He actually just passed a bill this year as a state legislator that fines restaurants $500 if they give you an unsolicited single-use item like a plastic fork or a ketchup packet.
Wow. What is going on? Why have they gone so extreme? I mean, we say this on sort of the national level, but it really seems like your race encapsulates it, Congressman. It's like common sense versus crazy.
It is. Unfortunately, so my opponent and then the other crazy person that just won in the district immediately south of me in Denver itself, beating a 15-term Democrat incumbent who was nuts herself.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah.
Yeah, we have two Democrat socialists with deep ties to New York and Mamdani. My opponent is literally in a campaign ad with Mamdani. And so they're being exported around now to other parts of the country and finding ways to try to work themselves into the local communities so that then they can go run for Congress or become mayor and export this Democrat socialist brand all around the nation. And first of all, it's terrifying. But second of all, I think normal people in America are starting to pay attention and see just how out of touch the Democrat Party is when their standard bearers are Mamdani and then my socialist, anti-oil and gas, vegan, radical nut job.
Yeah, it's like it is so, like you just said, over the top. And also it's like the Democratic Party isn't really reining them in. You talk about, and you look at the platform of the DSA and you brought up your opponent, you brought up the other one, Mila Kiros. You look at them. I mean, it seems to me here we're heading into the 250th, obviously, birthday of this country, of our great, great nation. And their values to me are so against some of the values of this country. I mean, the fact that, Milo Kiros, she essentially said that America deserved 9/11. Then we have this candidate in New York, Chevalier, who won her primary in New York. She said she wiped her hands with the American flag. I mean, to me, it's at its core. It's so troubling And you have to, I hope that the great people there in Colorado where you are, Congressman, wake up and realize how dangerous these people would be if they were to get in office.
Yeah, I mean, and the sad part is they are already in office in Colorado at the state level. My opponent, sitting state representative, he has a leadership PAC. It's a thing you can get when you're a sitting member of a state legislature or Congress. And he gave, in his official capacity as a state representative with his leadership PAC, he gave a campaign donation to another Democrat socialist in Colorado named Tim Hernandez, who went viral immediately after October 7th and the atrocities that Hamas committed then. It went viral for refusing to condemn those atrocities. And my opponent has donated money to him in his capacity as a state representative. So these people are unhinged. And I think the rest of America is waking up. And that's part of where my seat is so important because of my background. I'm Colorado born. I spent 12 years in the Army. I spent another 10 years in law enforcement in the Denver metro area. I'm married. I'm a husband. I'm a father. And I'm the only Hispanic in Colorado's congressional delegation. And that drives the left crazy that the only Hispanic House, Senate, Republican or Democrat from Colorado in Washington, D.C. is an under 40 Hispanic Republican.
Well, we wish you so much luck.
And thank you for your common sense, and thank you for trying to straighten out Colorado, because it looks like they're all flying high.
Congressman, thank you so much. Good luck, and you got to come back on again before the election, too.
Yeah, I would love to be back on with you. ElectGabeEvans.com for more information.
Fantastic. ElectGabeEvans.com. ElectGabeEvans.com. Thank you very much, Congressman.
Thank you.
You have a good one.
Thank you.
The top news of the day, Rita?
It's the top news of the day. Here's Rita Cosby.
Well, John, it is hot outside, and over 260 million Americans are under a powerful heat dome with the scorching temperatures running through the July 4th holiday weekend. Stifling triple-digit heat is continuing to grip a huge part of the eastern part of our country. Temperatures are expected to intensify across the Northeast today. It is scorching outside in New York City, also Philadelphia, Washington, all seeing record heat levels above average. And, John, you and I were talking yesterday about the crazy climbers. Remember Empire State Building? They have now been released from custody after appearing in a New York City courtroom. They were arrested and charged with their ascent up the New York City landmark. Both are experienced skyscraping climbers and performance artists. They were profiled in a Netflix documentary, and their court appearance is back on August 24th. And, John, we've got a whole big show coming up. We got Victoria Coates, who has some new details. She just got back from Israel, and she's got the latest on Iran. She's got a lot coming up.
You're commuting home with Cats and Cosby. Now, here's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby on 77 WABC. Breaking news, WABC.
Well, we're just coming in from the White House. President Trump saying it looks like the talks are going well. These are the ones that took place in Qatar about Iran. And who better than the person who just got back from Israel herself? She has a great picture, by the way, of herself and the Israeli president on her social media. You got to check it out. Former Deputy National Security Advisor. We love her. Victoria Coates. Victoria, tell us about your trip, too. This is awesome.
Well, Rita, John, great to be with all of you. I mean, happy 4th to all of my WABC family. And it was wonderful to be in Jerusalem. Sid was there. Everybody was there. It was just a really wonderful vibe and a really important time to have Americans on the ground in Israel. And I did get to meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu and with President Herzog. It was a really positive trip. And, you know, there was, I would say, some lingering confusion in Israel about precisely what the United States was doing. So good to have a lot of Americans there to discuss that. I think we came out of it in a position of strength, got to the framework for Lebanon. We can talk about that some more if you want, and about how that weakens Iran. But overall, you know, I think things in Israel are strong. And I think we have a path forward to just really bringing the relationship together and in a really good way, if only because the American left have just revealed themselves for who they are. They're a bunch of anti-Semitic socialists. I mean, that's the nicest way to put it. And, that gives us a really stark choice here.
You bring up a very good point because it is so clear. We were just talking with one of the candidates there in Colorado, the congressman, and he's got an incumbent. He has somebody challenging him now. And this person, again, it's a DSA candidate. And then there was a DSA, and the whole DSA, if you look at the platform, as you know, Victoria, everything is boycott, divest, do this against Israel, do this against Israel. Everything is that. And it's such an unseemly and so anti-American. I mean, they're our greatest ally, and yet these people are running here in America, and everything is anti-Israel, genocide. This, they even in their victory speeches this week, the woman who won in her Democratic side, she started talking about the genocide of Israel like 5 seconds in.
Oh, it's an article of faith now. And you look at Goldman, for example, in New York, losing his primary. This was the guy who led the impeachment against Donald Trump. It couldn't be more liberal. But I ride the train with them. We're both not a cell of people, but Northeast, the Northeast track. We're on the train a lot, and we have civil conversations about things that we disagree on. He's not extreme enough, even though he led the articles of impeachment against Donald Trump. But now he's going to be tossed to the wolves. And so what we're going to get in Congress out of this new crop of Democrats who, in the safe districts will be elected come November is terrifying. And so this is something we're really working on at Heritage. We want to talk about what the Democratic Socialists of America really are, what this represents for our country, what that's going to happen when they start getting seniority in Congress. They start taking on more important committee chairmanships. They're starting to move our money around. What's that going to mean? It's going to mean New York City under Mamdani on steroids.
Yeah, what does Israel think, too? Like you brought up that, you were over there meeting with all the, officials and Sid, too. And there you were in the middle of they got to be terrified. I'm terrified here in America to see this trend. I can't imagine what they're thinking about thousands of miles away when they see people who are running for office and some elected already that are, visibly anti-Israel.
It's really quite chilling. And unfortunately, I think we're, Rita, at a moment of choosing for both Jewish Americans and then Jews more broadly, to include Israelis. I mean, the left has abandoned them. And not just abandoned them, it's condemned them. And that's a fact. I wish it were not so. I'm old enough to remember when support for Israel and the Jewish people was a bipartisan thing. Now, all we have left is John Fetterman. I mean, where's Jackie Rosen? Where's Chuck Schumer? Nowhere to be found in this discussion. I mean, these are Jewish senators who simply won't weigh in on this because they know that they're going to lose their next election if they do. And, as we've discussed, being from Pennsylvania, I didn't know that my mother placed me on this earth, and the good Lord did as well, to say nice things about John Fetterman, but he's been a profile in courage. And it's amazing that he's the only one left in the model of Joe Lieberman, somebody who's willing to risk his political hide, and he will be primaried in Pennsylvania in 28, and he'll probably lose the primary, and he'll probably win the general. It's unbelievable. But this is who they are. And so we need to recognize this, and then we need to say, where do we stand as America? Are we going to embrace anti-Semitism under the Democrats, or are we going to say, no, this ancient, horrible, destructive hatred has no home here?
Well, I've always taken the position, no hate between any group belongs in the United States of America. People came to the United States not to have people that hate. And people that hate do not belong in the United States of America. They should not, and the migrants that came in that did not pledge allegiance to the United States of America, well, you shouldn't have a green card. And if you don't pledge allegiance to the United States of America, you should not have a green card. And if you're trying, if you don't want to be American, we don't want you here either.
Yeah, get out.
I mean, people that came to the United States of America through Ellis Island had to pledge allegiance to the United States and say they want to be American and work hard. And we don't want people that are the opposite, that want to destroy America.
Yeah, it's shocking, Victoria.
It is. And you wonder, why are they so desperately clinging to stay here and mounting lawsuits to stay here and trying to take them to the Supreme Court to force us to keep them here? Why do they want to be here?
Yeah, that's
because
a good
point.
Right.
Us down.
Right.
They want to take us down from within. And they get themselves elected to Congress. We've had a number of communities that have been hoisting the Somalian flag, not the American flag, as we move into the 250th. It's disgusting. Like, no, go back, go to Somalia. I mean, I learned a lot about Somaliland, which is a country I've been very interested in before. But, I mean, obviously in Israel right now, they've just recognized Somaliland because Somalia is a disaster and is providing us with people like Ilhan Omar and her like, and all the folks who are running around in Minnesota.
But this is planned by somebody. I mean, this doesn't happen by accident. This happened all post-2008. It happened post-President Obama. And Joe Biden didn't know if he was coming or going. So I'm not going to blame Joe Biden. He didn't know he was there. I mean, the question is, was it President Obama's third term? I mean, when President Trump took office in 2016, he didn't realize that President Obama took 2,000 operatives and put them in every agency in the United States of America to fight President Trump. And that's the facts of life.
Oh, 100%, John. I mean, and I encountered them personally with the folks that Ben Rhodes had burrowed into the National Security Council, who were just lying in wait for us to accuse us of being anti-Muslim.
President Trump didn't realize what hit him. And it took 4 years on the beach.
It took us that long.
Yeah, it took us 4 years on the beach for him to realize what was going on in this country. And that's what made him a great president in 2025.
Yep.
Indeed. Nope, we're lucky to have him. And I think, so telling that the Dow Industrial Average closed at a high today, going into that long weekend.
Remember, I predicted 60,000 by December 31, 26.
Did you write that down, Victoria?
I'm writing it down right now, Rita.
Okay.
But I mean, I will tell you, whose stock market isn't hitting a new high is Iran's. I mean, their stock market is completely dysfunctional because they can't even trade a third of it still. And, all the folks who are running around saying, oh, Iran won the war, I don't think so. I think they're in a horrible position. I think the president is dealing from a position of extreme strength here, and that we're going to be able to work through this. And I just got back last night from Iceland. That was the end of my trip.
Oh, my God. Lucky you.
Yeah. Oh, it was amazing. It was 50 degrees. Loved it. But on top of that, thinking a lot about the Reagan-Gorbachev summit in Reykjavik in October of 1986. So, that many decades ago now, that will be coming up on that anniversary. But what Reagan did there was he held the line on SDI, on missile defense. He broke the summit, but created a relationship with Gorbachev that allowed them to do the negotiations. And 3 years later, the Berlin Wall comes down.
Right.
That may be what we're starting to see happen here.
Yeah. And listen, President Trump has been just so, I think, adept at the way he's been handling this. You're right. This may be another one of those incredible historic moments. We're watching it. Victoria, lucky you to go to Israel, Iceland, and our next life we want to be you. And have a great 4th of July.
You guys, too. Just enjoy it. We'll celebrate our country, and we'll reconvene afterwards.
Can't wait.
I look forward to it, Victoria.
Thanks, Victoria, very much. And now some breaking news from California.
Breaking news, WABC.
A big takedown of a sex trafficking operation. And who better to talk about it than the Assistant U.S. Attorney in California, Rahul Hari. Rahul, it's great to have you here. Tell us about this big action that you guys took.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me and for covering this really important case. So yesterday was part 2 in Operation Broken Blade, which is a major investigation here with our law enforcement partners and our both our federal law enforcement partners and our local law enforcement partners with LAPD. Yesterday, we announced the arrest of 10 individuals charged with a number of different criminal acts, including RICO, the trafficking of children, and the trafficking of adults through violence.
Wow. And talk about how big of an investigation. Who are these individuals?
Yeah, these individuals, many of them are members of a criminal street gang called the Hoovers. They've been charged in one indictment together. There are a couple of separate indictments as well on individuals, but a majority of the individuals announced as part of this are part of the Hoover Gang, which is a gang that controls the Figueroa Corridor. It's a 3.5-mile stretch of blocks in Los Angeles where sex trafficking of children and of adults through violence has plagued the community for decades. So this is a really important case in targeting some of that sex trafficking and addressing, the actions of these defendants.
Now, a couple of hours ago, I had Meg Katsimatidis, my daughter-in-law, who's married to my son, who used to live in California, and she went to visit her old house, and there's 40 beds in there with pregnant Chinese women.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a case that focuses on birth tourism. The focus of this is on individuals primarily from the foster care system or from who are runaways from home who have been targeted and groomed by these pimps first promised luxury, promised a better lifestyle, promised money, promised goods, affection. But then when they are, met by their pimps, they realize that, there is violence and discipline that comes with being trafficked by these defendants.
I mean, in California, are we going to be able to turn it around and have common sense?
Yeah, this is a federal indictment, so we're hoping that, we can get some of the sentences that the mandatory minimums that are associated with these cases. We're looking at 15-year mandatory minimums for some of these defendants, maximum of life. So I think this will be a big impact case if, that's where the sentences go.
Well, bravo. And I'm glad that you guys did obviously a great job. And I'm glad for those women, too, that they're getting some justice, too. So thank you so much. And Raul, thank you for keep up the great work in cleaning up California and making that beautiful state safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you. Thank you.
And since we're in California, let's go to Professor John Yoo, of course, the great legal expert. He's also, by the way, he's everywhere. He is also a senior research fellow with the University of Texas at Austin. So he's got everything covered. Professor Yoo, we love you. Let's start with if we could, I don't know if you heard, John was just talking with the assistant U.S. attorney there in California, and we were talking about birthright citizenship, too. He was saying his daughter-in-law, that was interesting. She goes back to what, John? She went back to her old house.
Her old home, because she wanted to see her own home. And there's 40 cots in there with pregnant Chinese women.
Like a birthright.
And then I said to her,
right?
She's going to be on Sunday's show. And she said to me, there are hundreds of homes like that in California.
I mean, what can be done about this birthright citizenship or tourism or who knows what in this case, Professor Yoo?
Oh, this is a case of what they call birth tourism, where people are coming specifically to have children so that they can benefit from the rule that the Supreme Court reaffirmed earlier this week. So seems to me the best way to stop this is to make it illegal for people to come here to try to have children. I've heard some.
And I heard the Supreme Court said, Supreme Court says we're not going to stop it. You have a good time.
And then, but DOJ's looking into it, right? I think DOJ, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so the Supreme Court has said that there's no way to change it by saying if you're born here, you're not a citizen. But that doesn't mean that the Justice Department and the government can't stop the practice.
Yes.
So, for example, if there are these homes and businesses, I think they advertise on the internet, those can be broken up.
Now, when they made the executive order, did they make a mistake? Should they have put down that birthright people to come in as tourists are not eligible to become citizens, or migrants that come in are not eligible to become citizens? Criminals that come in from other countries uninvited are not eligible to become citizens?
I do think that the executive order was so broad that it triggered the court into issuing a broad decision too. The executive order didn't just apply to temporary tourists or people here for a short period of time.
I think the Supreme Court we would have won if that if it was more specific.
Yeah, I do too.
It's hard to tell, but because the executive order said, no one who is born to parents here who aren't in the country legally, which not just includes birth tourists, but includes people who do want to stay here permanently, but they haven't been able to do so legally, that I think caused the court to say, well, we're going to settle this issue for everybody once and for all. It's a very broad opinion and doesn't really give any area for future, I would say future executive or legislative branch action. So you have to instead target the people who are coming here or target them while they're here. This is, you use similar approaches that the government uses against organized crime or drug trafficking or human trafficking, which is to go after the businesses that profit from this.
Oh, that's it. So, yeah. So what would you charge them with? Like, I saw yesterday, actually, a case, Professor Yu. It was a woman from Russia. And she said, oh, yeah, I paid $50,000 so I could stop over essentially, for a few hours, have my baby. And now I'm leaving. And so there's this whole business operation.
And then these are legal 18. When they become 18 years old, they invite their entire family to come to the United States.
And get U.S. benefits, everything.
I mean, this is horrible.
So what can you do legally, Professor John Yu? What do you do in a case like that?
According to the Supreme Court, you can't answer the problem by saying that child who's born here is not a citizen, but you can try to stop that Russian woman from coming to the United States in the first place. You can arrest her or fine her while she's here. You could say that she and the business, you could go after the businesses, the people who received the $50,000 and try to, because I think what you have to do is, as you do with all criminal cases, you have to cause such a disincentive that people won't engage in this practice anymore. And from what I can tell, the statistics are hard to come by exactly, but it looks like it could be a low of maybe 100,000 babies born this way to maybe as high as 300,000 a year. So I don't think it would take a lot to be able to reduce those numbers if the government's really willing to put the resources into it.
Wow, that could be interesting. Hey, listen, before we let you go, I had to ask you this. John and I were talking this morning. It's like, this is a doozy, Professor John Yu. In California, and this guy, Scott Wiener, he's running for Nancy Pelosi's seat. He's a state senator, and they were going to legislatively push this ban that would have banned, it seems pretty easy, sex offenders from holding public office in California, right? And this guy stepped in and said, no, that's essentially not nice to do to the sex offenders, that he thinks some of them should hold some sort of different public positions, including school board.
Oh, my God.
I mean, have they lost their mind in California?
Oh, yeah. We've lost our minds long ago. This is just another in a long list of truly crazy policies out here, which are gradually making California unaffordable and unlivable. And there's just so much of this kind of performative politics out here. I mean, you don't have to talk about it. We could just talk about a policy the Supreme Court properly struck down here, which made it illegal under California law, for example, for any teacher or employee of the state to tell parents of a child that they wanted to change genders. And the Supreme Court struck that down this year, saying that infringed on the right of the parents to raise their children properly. That's just more and more examples of the crazy policies out here.
Well, Professor, anything else you want to tell a million people that are listening?
Well, I hope everybody enjoys the July 4th holiday, the 250th. And it's a reminder that the power of, we don't get our rights from the power of the government. We have rights first, and that the government gets its powers only to protect our rights, not to try to change them or invent new ones that are not permitted by the understandings in the Declaration of Independence.
Thank you. Have a great 4th of July. Have a great 250 years. And let's pray common sense comes to California.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy 4th.
Let's take a break. And then we got a special guest coming up.
We do. We have an Assistant Secretary of State who's going to give us a read on the globe. I can't wait.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Cats and Cosby on 77 WABC.
With us today is Dylan Johnson, Assistant Secretary of State for Global Affairs. Well, Secretary Johnson, give us a report. This is an important weekend, 250 years of our country. Give us the pulse of the situation. What the heck is going on?
Yeah, well, it's great to be with you, John. Look, we are so excited here at the State Department to celebrate this historic, accomplishment for the country. 250 years of American independence and the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And, I think right now when we look out across the world, Americans can be very proud of what their State Department is doing and how they're being represented on the world stage. And, you look right now, one of the big things that's going on here in Washington at the State Department is our response, our historic response to the earthquakes in Venezuela. And we're really pleased with how things are going. I mean, Secretary Rubio called me within a few hours of the disaster striking, and he said he wanted to see a response that was big, that was fast, that was effective, and that's exactly what's been delivered. And just today, there's some breaking news that we have actually American search and rescue crews were able to pull out of the rubble after 8 days a Venezuelan who was trapped, and they found him alive, and he's in decent health. And so it's just a totally miraculous recovery, and it's a testament to the work that we're doing on the ground. And we're just so grateful to our partners in the military, the brave men and women of Southcom, our task force team. We have people from LA, Miami, Virginia on the ground doing this incredible work. And I think they're really showing the best of America. And, we hear a lot about what it means to be an ally of the United States in this day and age. And I think right now we're demonstrating not only to Venezuela, but to the entire world that to be an ally of America means to have the greatest country on earth with the most resources and the most capability on your side. And China is nowhere to be found. Russia is nowhere to be found. Yet again, it's America who's, America first doesn't mean America alone. And we're demonstrating that in full force on the ground in Venezuela.
Secretary Johnson, thank you so much for bringing all the American people up to date on the 4th of July weekend. And God bless the United States of America. God bless all the people that defend it. And thank you for coming on.
Thank you, John. God bless America.
Wow. It's amazing when you hear this, John. It's like President Trump is juggling the world. It's incredible.
Well, and President Trump and the White House has provided us with all top people to
the best
to have on WABC.
Because he loves WABC.
Don't forget, a week ago or 2 weeks ago, President Trump tweeted out on Truth Social that make sure you listen to WABC. And
he's a fan of WABC. And the thing is, John, first of all, we are all about common sense. And Trump tells it like it is. He's a New York guy.
We tell it the way it is.
Yeah, nobody gets all the different opinions that we share here all the time.
Tomorrow morning, I'm working tomorrow morning, and we have Fernando Mateo in.
Awesome.
We have Jake Novak
in,
which I enjoy. You see, we got a Jew, Hispanic, and
a Greek.
A Greek. And a little bit Italian. And we have Michael Cohen, a former attorney for President Trump. And he's going to be with us. He's going to be with us for 4 hours.
I can't wait. Everybody, make sure you tune in tomorrow, 6 a.m., right? You're ready to roll.
I'll be here 6 a.m.
And I'm going to join you in the afternoon.
Maybe 6:01.
Yeah, 602, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to join you from D.C. tomorrow. We're going to be talking about America 250 and how great our country is.
Yep. You'll be a special correspondent in D.C. for the day.
I can't wait. John, love you. And what do we all stand for?
Truth, justice, and the American way. God bless America.